It's an all too familiar routine. A new case quickly becomes several and ultimately leads to a snap lockdown. In just under an hour, the whole state will once again be under stay-at-home orders for at least the next week. Late this afternoon, the Premier said there was no other option but to enter lockdown number 6, and he pleaded with Victorians to follow the rules. It's off the back of 8 new cases today. But the fact that 2 of them haven't been able to be linked has authorities concerned people are infectious out in the community with the Delta variant. So, we know the drill. From 8 o'clock until next Thursday, there'll be 5 reasons to leave home: getting food and supplies, exercising, caregiving, authorised work or education and getting vaccinated. The switch has been flicked to remote learning for school kids tomorrow. Our state political reporter Richard Willingham is at Parliament House. Rich, it seems a day is a long time in this pandemic. Why has the Premier acted so quickly?
Just think 36 hours ago, Tam, we were celebrating a donut day, or what was it going to be one. The government is really wanting to jump on top of this as quickly as possible. They've been emphasising they don't want to see a situation like that that's unfolding in Sydney. And I think they've also now got the confidence that the other governments around Australia, including the federal government, are supportive of these short, sharp lockdowns to try and get on top of it. And one of the things that's really spooked them is the fact is there's these five mystery cases out there in the community which they don't know where they came from. And of concern is the fact there's already more than 2,000 students and parents and teachers isolating from Altaqua College. There's also includes that is into public housing as well. There's an optometrist at Caroline Springs, and we're now seeing dozens of exposure sites, including once again High Point. So it's really this fact that it's sort of exploded in the western suburbs that they want to jump on it right now.
And Rich, what's the thinking behind the statewide lockdown, given there's only cases at the moment in metropolitan Melbourne?
Yes, and most of those cases are in Western Melbourne, but the government says it's detected viral fragments of COVID in Wangaratta, about 2.5 hours north of Melbourne. And it's for that reason that the whole state, from Portland to Mildura, across to Mallacoota and up to Wodonga, is being locked down. And that was some area that they are aware that they're going to get some pushback for. They're also aware that there's going to be a massive toll, another massive hit on business, which is why as early as tomorrow they'll announce more business support. And there is one thing they're hoping that this lockdown may provide, and it's inspire more people to go and get vaccinations. The government says it's working really hard to be able to hopefully open up the AstraZeneca vaccination for people under 60 in state-run hubs. But here's Bridget Rollason with today's developments.
500 days since Victoria entered its first lockdown, and tonight we're entering our 6th.
Can't tell you how disappointed I am to have to be here doing this again.
After 8 new local cases and 5 of those infectious in the community, the Premier says there was no alternative but a 7-day lockdown.
If we were to wait even just a few days, there's every chance that instead of being locked down for a week, this gets away from us and we are potentially locked down until we all get vaccinated.
This Truganina school, where a positive teacher taught last week, was transformed into a mass testing site today. Nearly 2,500 students and family members from Altaqua College have been sent into 14 days isolation, including residents at these North Melbourne public housing towers who have children at the school.
It's very difficult, but we have to do it.
The first mystery case is an Altaqua teacher in her 20s who lives in the Hobsons Bay area. She's infected her partner, who plays footy for Newport and works at an optometrist in Caroline Springs, and he's passed the virus on to 2 family members. It's also a mystery how a man in his 20s from the Maribyrnong area who works in Derrimut caught the virus. It's led to more than 80 exposure sites across Melbourne's west, including gyms, pharmacies, cafes and shopping centres.
The most important thing is, if you're asked to isolate, you must isolate.
All players and officials at Saturday's local football match between Newport and West Footscray have been ordered to test and isolate, while this cafe in Altona North was still serving customers this morning despite being declared a Tier 1 site.
These are rapidly developing scenarios.
Melbourne's north and west were the hardest hit during last year's second wave. Altaqua College experienced an outbreak that reached nearly 200 cases.
The initial thought was, here we go again. In fact, it's a much better place that we're in now than we were last year.
Altona North GP Mukesh Hakawal says there are better community supports in place.
They felt they were very badly treated, and that's why many people didn't get tested. all of that has changed.
The biggest concern for health authorities right now is the 2 mystery cases. Contact tracers don't know how they got the virus or how many people they've given it to, with many of the new cases infectious in the community for several days. Bridget Rollason, ABC News, Melbourne.